Hi, and welcome to an introduction to Enzyme. This is a React testing library or framework, if you like, that will allow you to test your React components as if you're doing it on the browser. It's by far the simplest, in my opinion, tool for testing React components, and that, along with the amazing Jest, just allows you to get things up and running really quickly. What I want to do in this short tutorial is show you how to get this set up and installed and what you need to do to get a basic application up and running. So I'm going to start off by creating a React app using the Create React App node module. Tester. Okay, and after about 4 hours, you'll find that the React app is up and running and installed. So let's change directory to the enzyme tester. What I want to do is install enzyme itself. So at this point now we've installed enzyme. What I want to do is run the default tests that come with Create React App. Create React App comes with just, I think it's 1 or 2 tests for starting up a basic app. And we can see that the test has started up for app.test, and we've rendered without crashing, which is always a good start, and the tests have passed. I'm going to quit out of that by pressing Q to quit. And now I'm going to fire up the code in Visual Studio Code. You can fire up it in any editor that you want. Here we can see that we've got the test. We can see before we rendered without crashing. Now all we're doing is we're old school, creating the document, creating the element, making a div, and then we're going to render our application inside of that div. And as long as nothing crashes, as long as everything goes okay with the app, then no exception is going to be thrown, and we kind of get past this test. But obviously it's very crude, and it's just the way just to make sure the app is actually starting up without dying a horrible death. What I want to do is go a little bit further and use enzyme. If we just import enzyme, we're using the latest version of React, so we get an error message in our tests that says that we need to reuse the React test renderer. So I'm just going to go ahead and install that. Now that that's installed, I also need to make sure that I've got React DOM as well. These are dependencies that the version 15 and above of React needs for enzyme to work. But including enzyme doesn't automatically include these dependencies. It's something that you've got to do by hand. So now we've got these dependencies installed, we should just be able to do an npm test. It's going to fire up Jest and it's going to run these tests. Remember that the test is including enzyme, so if we work, at least we know we've got the module installed and it's running. Perfect. Now that we've got this installed, what I want to do is swap out this code and make it more enzyme-like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount our app and return that as a wrapper. And what I want to do is just make an assert. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expect that the HTML is very similar to test. Now, hopefully this should fail because our HTML doesn't look like test. Unless it does. If I can remember the structure of my test correctly, because I play about with about 50 different test libraries, equal get this right. 2 equal. There we go. We can see that we were expecting test because I'm just playing about, but we can actually see that the HTML has been returned from this mounted component. So if we was to copy that and place that in, we actually can assert it. Now that can get quite complex, so what we can do is we can use JS's ability to do snapshot testing, and then we can actually build snapshots and we can see what the HTML would be that comes out. And we can see now we've got a HTML in here, and it just allows us to snapshot what that component looks like and what it returns. So now that's running, we should have a passing test. Keep running that. If at any point we change this component, what we can do is we can put something like that in, then we should get a failing test because now we don't match our snapshot, and we can go and we realize that that was actually a breaking change. So what we can do now is we can choose to update the snapshot, and we're up and running. So that's how in 6 minutes we've got a new app, we've got Enzyme installed, we're rendering a component, and we're testing the output. It really is that simple. In the next few videos, what I want to do is just show you a few of the core features, things like how to test and mount, how to render and do shallow rendering, and what the difference is within Enzyme. I also will then want to show you how to actually action things like click events. And finally, I want to wrap up with doing a test that will actually fake out and mock Ajax calls and how that can be handled. Hope you enjoyed this. As always, guys, if you loved it like you should have done, then I highly recommend you click that like button, and don't forget that subscribe button. It's even better. Bye now, guys.